Hello everyone. Uh, I think only two persons have joined. Just let's make sure everything is working fine. Can you please just write in a chat if you are able to hear me? Right. So Harshar has confirmed that uh, I'm audible. So thank you, sir. So we'll just wait for a couple of minutes. Let's wait for others to join and then we can start. Right, so just bear with me for a few more moments. Just for the benefit of those who has joined just now, we are just waiting for others to join. Bear with us for a minute, and then we will start. Thank you. Right. So I think let's start now. Others can join in the meantime. That's fine. So. Uh, uh, Right. So I believe I'm audible. If during the demo, if anyone has a question, please feel free to write that question in the chat box, and we will keep monitoring them. And once we have covered the overview, then we will take up the questions and we will try to answer as much as we can. Right. So let's start. I have shared my screen with you. Please, uh, if anyone can confirm you are able to see my screen. Can you please confirm if you are able to see my screen? Right. Okay. So just let me describe briefly about Octa GST. So Octa GST is this company was started in 2017 specifically to address the difficulties with the GST compliance. And during the serving the customers, afterwards we also became official GST Suvidha provider. So we comply with all the regulatory requirement of becoming a GSP, which means that all our systems are regularly audited for security and process compliances, and all the data that users add to Octa GST that remains within the borders of India. So we comply with all the requirements of GSTN, And we offer Octa GST, which is a cloud-based GST compliance platform that we try to solve all aspects of GST compliance. For example, different type of registrations, regular SEZ, composition, um, uh, e-commerce registration, TDS registration. So all the type of registration we handle, different types of returns, e-invoice generation, e-way bill generation. So it's one single platform that that solves all the aspects of GST compliance. And using it is extremely simple. Or you simply need to go to website octagst.com. Let me zoom in so that you can see clearly. So on the website octagst.com, you simply need to use the login button. And once you are logged in, you will be able to instantly access the Octa GST application. And there is absolutely no installation required on any of your computer or any server, and you can access it from anywhere. Right. So let me again zoom in. I hope it is big enough. If you have any trouble seeing, then please let me know in the chat box. Uh, so this once we are logged in, this is the home screen that you will see. So let's see what we have here. So in the home screen, we show the user all the companies that you have added in your account, including the GST registration in each company, right? Because in a single PAN you might have multiple registration. So Okta GST helps you manage all those registration in one single company at the PAN level, right? So we club all those registration. For example, in this particular company, you can see there are many GST registrations, and you can see all of them together in one single dashboard, right? So if you apply a filter of any particular return, then you can instantly see the filing status of each of those GSTNs, right? So here we can see that which is the last return GSTR1 filed for this by this particular GST registration. And as you used Okta GST to file your returns, this information remains up to date, right? So in a single dashboard, you can see the filing status, and you can also say that I only want to see those registrations where the filing status is pending. So you can apply these filters and instantly see the list of registrations for which filing is pending. There are other filters like type of registration, and you can also search a particular company using the name or GST number and instantly access that particular company or GST registration. For each GSTN, there is also a quick login option. So if you click on login, uh, Okta GST will use the last saved password. That is only if you opt in to save the password. So if you enter a password and save it, Okta will use it, and it will also solve the captcha for you, so that in just a single click, you can, for example, if I just click on login, and here you can see the captcha is filled, I can simply click on login button and I am logged in. If I click on open button, the government portal will open, and I am already logged in with that registration. So that helps you quickly work with different GST registration, and you don't have to individually log in each registration and enter all the username and password details to log in. So that greatly simplifies working on the government portal also, right? In addition to this, on the top you have a search option. So there is a inbuilt search. We have a big database of GST registrations. So you can search any company using GST number or the company name, and if you click on that company, the full registration information will be displayed instantly. So using this search, you can search any taxpayer. It can be your customer, supplier. And sometimes what happens is that you have an incorrect GST registration number, right? So somebody made a mistake. So for example, instead of B, somebody and put in 8, right? So these kind of mistakes, human mistakes are made. So if you even if you search by incorrect GST registration, the system will find out and show you and offer you that this might be the correct GST number. So it also helps you with the incorrect GST registration, GSTN and PAN. Next one is the team. So Octa GST is a multi-user platform. So you can set up your team. So you can add more users in your team and you can assign various access controls. So you can say that this particular user can work on only this company or this particular GSTN, or whether that user has full access, write access, read-only access, all of which you can control. So you can have n number of members in your team and you can assign the access control access rights to each user, and all of those users will be able to work on the companies in your account, right? So at any point of time, for example, if a person is no longer working in your team, all you need to do is just update this record, update this user and remove this user from your team. Whatever data that user might have added so far, or any companies that user might have created, everything remains in your account only, right? So that user, even if you remove that user, no data is lost in your account. So that way you can manage your team centrally and you can assign the access rights to each user, right? API keys. So because it's a cloud platform, so we also offer various API endpoints using which we can automate various aspects of ERP operations like invoice generation, e bill generation, or the reconciliation or the status updates. So various sorts things we can do using API integration. Wallet users is there are certain operation which might be when you are using Octa GST, they are charged. So for example, in the pro account, there are certain number of operations. So if you click on this button on the top, in the pro account, there are certain number of operation in the OTP mode, which is the API mode. Certain number of operations are free every day, and after that, a nominal charge of rupee 1 per operation is charged. So here, what operation means is that any activity, for example, you are pulling GSTR1 data or you are pushing GSTR1, so that is counted as one operation. So and in that operation, there are n number of APIs used, but we want to keep it simple for the users. That is why we call it operation. So one operation might need 20, 25, 30, 40 APIs. So irrespective of the number of APIs, uh, 1 rupee per operation will be charged beyond the free limit. Up to the free limit, definitely you can use. And in our business or SME plans, this OTP mode is uh, unlimited operations per day are free. In our pro plans, certain number of operations are free, and after that, it gets charged. Right? There is another mode, if you see, which is the password mode. In that, all operations are free and nothing is charged ever. Right? And you can instantly see your current day uses using this option on the top. Right? So if you are using the chargeable operation, then you can use your see your wallet uses in this section. Right? And lastly, there is an audit log section where all your user, whatever they are doing, then you can simply see here in the audit log section. This is accessible to the admin user only, and the admin can see what the users are doing, what type of operation they are doing, if they are importing any data, which GSTN they are working on. So this audit log is accessible to the admin, right? Now, this was the home screen where it's a kind of dashboards where the admin can take control of his account, see what's going on here. Now, when we are working on an individual company, so we can simply search for that company, click on that company to open it, and all the compliance related operation for that company will be shown on the left side. So for example, this particular company has one GST registration, and because it is the regular registration, so the regular compliances like GSTR1, 1A, IMS, 2A, 2B, 3B, 99C, all these compliances are available here. Similarly, if we use any ISG registration, right? So if we open that company, then all the compliances related to ISD like GSTR 6A, 6A reconciliation, ITC distribution for GSTR 6, and GSTR 6 preparation, all such features are available. And similarly, if we are working on a TDS registration, then GSTR-7 and related options will be available. So the platform adapts itself depending on the type of compliance you will need for that particular registration, right? Now let's start working on a sample company and see how Okta solves and assists you in the GST compliance. So I will click on add company here and I will try to add a new company, right? So here let adding a new company is extremely simple. We just need to enter one GSTN. Even if you have multiple registration for the company, just enter any one of them and then continue. So Okta will check all the registrations belonging to that PAN, whether those registrations, what is the type of registration, whether it is active or cancelled. So the full registration information will be checked. And now it's you can see here the name of the company is identified and it has already found out all the registration that belong to the same PAN. So this GSTN belongs to Bank of India and it has also identified which registration are cancelled. So by default they are not selected and whatever GST registrations are active they are selected here. And if you suppose you are working with the compliance of any cancelled registration, you can select that as well. So we have these helper buttons like you can select only the active ones or all registration and simply click on add to create this company in your account and start working on it. So it's as simple as that. You just add any GST and Okta will find out all the registration and it will offer you to create that company for all the registration in one go, right? Uh, so here I will now I will use a demo GST registration. So let me select that one. In this demo GSTN, there are three registrations. So it has offered me to add all of them. I will just click on add button here. And now you can see the company has been added. So I will click on done button and let me search for that company. So this company is now created, right? So I will click on this company and open it because in this company there were three GST registrations. So you can see all of them has been added here, right? All three are regular registration. All three are filing monthly, and the user, which is the admin. So we are able to access. We have the full access on all three registrations, right? If during during the course of the time the type of the filing frequency is changed, then you can also edit it later on, right? So you can make it monthly. If the user or the taxpayer chooses quarterly filing, then you can change the filing frequency in this list here. Now, in this company page, there are two buttons. One is login and another is connect. So login button. So we see here this star button, right? So as I mentioned you earlier, wherever you see this star symbol, so that means we are using the password mode. So we are logging into government portal using the password. And wherever you see this lightning button, so that means we are using the OTP mode, right? So this connects this GST registration to the government system using the OTP, and this connects to the government portal using the password, right? So we will just go ahead and use the OTP mode. When we use the OTP mode, we need to simply enter the username and send the OTP. So the registered mobile number will receive an OTP and the OTP will be sent by the government system. And once we enter that OTP, this button will change to connected. That means Okta is now connected to the government system for this GSTN, and you can start using all the operations in the OTP mode, and Okta will automatically pull or push the data whatever you require, right? So for example, if we just move to GSTR1 page here and click on full GSTR1, right? So this in every module, for example, GSTR1, 2A, 2B, there are two sections. One is filing a new return wherever it is applicable, and second is the history, right? So suppose you start using Okta today, and you need to work on the previous financial year, then the filing history is useful. So we can go to GSTR1, we can click on pull GSTR1, and here we need to specify the GST and the period for which we want to pull the data. right? Now, working with individual GSTN or individual period is problematic because you might be dealing with you might be dealing with like 10 15 GST registration in a single pan, or you might want a data of the whole financial year, right? So in order to make that simpler, Okta has the option to pull the data of all GST registration within the same pan, and in the period also you can specify a month, but you can also specify a quarter or a financial year. For example, I can say that I want the data of financial year 23-24. So in just one click, I am able to pull the data of all the GST registration in the PAN and of all the periods in the financial year, right? So I can click continue, and Okta will in the background, because depending on the type of GST, and it might have few hundred to few thousand to few lakhs and even few crore invoices, right? So here you can see that in, because we connected only Maharashtra, so now the Maharashtra data is available. So in the filing history dashboard, you can see whether the returns are filed by for this particular registration, and whether the data is available in Okta or not. Because in some cases, so suppose you are generating a report, then it is important to first make sure that data is available in Okta before you generate a report. So here we can see, suppose I move my cursor to a particular month. Here you can see that for this particular return period, data is now available, right? And when we pulled this data from the government system, and when it was imported in Okta, whether this return is filed by the taxpayer or not. If filed, then when was it filed and what was the ARN number. So the full information in one single dashboard you can see. And here you can change the financial year also. Suppose you want to take a look at the different financial year, then you can change the financial year and it will show you the dashboard of all registration for that financial year, right? So this is the common design. And if you, for example, move to GSTR-3B, then you will see the similar functionality, filing a new return or the filing history. You have the pull buttons using which you can pull the data of that particular return, and then you have the export option. So this is the general design for all the modules, and we have put in a lot of effort to make the user interface simple and recognizable. So once you learn something, the same patterns or same design is replicated, so that once you learn one module, working with the another module is extremely simple. So even with the annual returns, the similar design follows, because since the returns are annual, so instead of month, here you see the financial years, but the basic designs remains same, right? Now let's talk about first the outward GSTR1 compliance. Then we can take a look at the inward compliance, which is the IMS and GSTR-2B reconciliation, right? So suppose we want to deal with the historical data. So as I explained you earlier, you can pull GSTR1 using this button. Once you have imported all the data, you have the export option. Suppose you want the transaction wise data, then you can export using this option. Again, here you can export the data of at the pan level. You can select all GST registration. In the period, you can select 1 month, quarter, financial year. So multiple periods of data you can export in one go. There are different types of report. Octa for full format, Octa smart format, which is easier, makes it easier to deal with the amendments, and then GSTN format. You can apply various filter. For example, you only want B2B invoice or only want B2CL invoice. So you can apply these filter based on the uh, the section. And there is a filter. I will explain you in IMS. There is a particular pain point, that whenever you are issuing the credit note, then your suppliers might reject it, right? So when they are rejecting your credit note, then your liability is increased in GSTR-3B, right? And you want to know that who are those suppliers and which documents have been rejected, right? So we also have this filter that you can export your GSTR1 data, and you can say that only show me those documents on where my supplier has rejected them, right? So that makes it easier to identify why your liability in GSTR 3B is increasing. In some cases, your customer might call you and ask that give me the list of the invoices that you have reported for me during the last financial year. So you can also apply a filter for the customer GSTN. So only data of that particular customer will be exported. And you can also apply a filter for the customer PAN, because your customer might also be registered in different states. So you can export the data of that customer on the PAN basis. So this using this export facility, you can apply various filters and you can export the data of multiple GSTN and multiple periods. Right now, if you want to prepare a new GSTR1, then you need to use this file new return facility. So if you click on prepare GSTR1 and simply select the GST registration and the period. So Okta will generate an overview of the GSTR1 based on the data that you have imported using from your ERP. Right now, where will you import that data? That is done in the sales module here. So if you go to sales module, you would find there is an import button. So the most common use case is that you import the your sales register from Excel or CSV files. So for that, you have this import button. If I click on import, you would find there are three different formats. One is Octa format. This is useful when you are dealing with multiple GSTs. So you can prepare one single file, add the data of all the GST registration in one file, and import your sales register on the PAN basis. Right. So that is the format that we recommend. The second format is GSTR1 format, which is the government format. So unfortunately, this format supports one registration at a time. So if you are using this format, then you have to specify that which registration you want to import the data for and the period. Right? And then we have Okta e-invoice format for our SME and business platform. Those users who are generating e-invoice on Okta platform, they can directly import that data. So Okta's e-invoice Excel file can be directly imported in sales so that you can readily prepare your GSTR1. Right. So in this demo, I will select a sample sales register and we will import the data in our sales register. Once the data is, if at the time of importing there are any errors, so there are almost 100 validations that are applied at the time of importing the data. So if there are any errors during the import, then on the screen Okta will show you that these are the errors, and the exact line and cell it will show you that this is the line and cell where there is an error, and you can correct those errors in Excel file and import that again. Right. In this particular case, I don't have any error, so I'm able to import it. But once you have imported the data, it is natural to ask that whether all the data has been successfully imported or not. So for that, we have this sales dashboard. So here you can specify a particular period. So suppose I say March 23. So if I refresh, then the system will calculate and show you that what is the data that is available in that period. Right. So let me select a different period. Right. So how many documents have been imported and what is the total value? So this is the gross total, and the intention here is to make you comfortable that whatever you wanted to import, whether that has been successfully imported in Okta or not. Right. Because if the data is not imported successfully, then there is no point moving to the return, because the first thing is we need to make sure is everything is up to date here. Right. So we can see on this dashboard what is the total value count and total value of different types of document. And if that is correct, then we can simply go to GSTR1, click on prepare GSTR1 and select the period. So in this particular case, let me select March. So notice here, as soon as I selected this March period, this overview, GSTR1 overview has been updated. So, and in each section, what is the total number of records, what is the value, everything is now calculated, right? So there are a lot of tables in GSTR1, and Okta has calculated and populated the GSTR1 overview. There is a helpful button here, which is hide empty table, because in many cases we are only dealing with certain type of transactions. So if you turn it on, then Okta will only show you those table which has some data. So that makes it easier to deal with, because now you have to deal with only 4 or 5 tables. Right? So you can quickly see the overview, whether everything is correct or not. If you want to go into the detail, that for example in this B2B section, what is going to be reported? So for those you can use these buttons here. So if you go to B2B section, the Okta will show you each and every record which will be reported in this return, and you can also double click and see the details of that particular transaction. All the summary sections like B2C summary. So suppose you have imported all the data at the transaction level. So Okta will automatically identify that in these invoices there is no customer GSTN. So they are B2C invoices. So for those invoices, B2C summary will be automatically generated. You don't have to generate the summary manually. Similarly, for exempt supplies and the HSN summary, whether it is B2B, because there has been a recent change where HSN summary has to be reported for B2B and B2C separately. So that summary will be automatically generated. And we also have this in the document series option, because in GSTR1 we are required to report the series of the invoices, whatever document we have issued. So for that also we have an auto calculate option. So if we use it, Okta will automatically generate the document series based on the invoices or credit notes you have in the sales register. Right? So you can check all the sections. You can go into the details of all the sections. But there is a particular uh, challenge with respect to filing GSTR1, which is the reconciliation with the data that is already there on the portal. Because in this case, the taxpayer might be generating the e-invoicing, and due to that, GSTR1 is auto-populated using that data, and it becomes essential to reconcile it so that in order to make sure that everything is correct. So here we have this portal reconciliation mode in GSTR1. You can turn it on and then pull the data. So we'll pull the data from the government portal and we will reconcile it. So as soon as we reconcile, you would find that uh, Okta will show you which documents are matching. So ideally, if everything is okay, then all the B2B documents should be matching with the government portal, because uh, using the ERP, you might have generated those e-invoices, right? So, but in the practical cases, there might be some differences. For example, you canceled an invoice in your ERP, but forgot to cancel the e-invoice, or maybe the e-invoice generation, you forgot to generate the e-invoice, right? So for those cases there might be mismatches. So Okta will find out those mismatches, and you can see the that reconciliation at the individual invoice level. So let's apply a filter, and we will remove the matching ones. So here Okta is showing you that these are the documents which are not matching with the portal, right? So for example, this particular invoice, it is there on the portal but it is missing in books. So and this invoice, it is available in books but it is missing in portal. So probably we might have not generated the e-invoice for it. So Okta gives you these signals so that in time you can correct those compliance issues, so that you don't have to face any issues in the future. So this reconciliation is useful uh, in order to identify the differences. And once you are satisfied that you have taken your sales register is correct, you have taken all the actions, then you can simply click on this push button. It will push this data to the government portal, and it will automatically correct these differences, right? So here the assumption is that the sales register is correct, right? So if the sales register is incorrect, then you can simply use these edit buttons to directly make those corrections in the sales register. But once you push it, Okta will assume that your sales register is correct, and all these differences will be taken care of. For example, if invoice is missing in portal, Okta will automatically add that on the government portal, right? If a invoice is missing in books, that means it is that invoice should be deleted from the government portal. So these invoices will be automatically deleted. If there are any mismatches, these invoices will be overwritten, right? So that way, when you click on push button, you don't have to do anything manually. you simply click on push button and Octa will take care of all these differences and it will upload this data to the government portal, right? In addition to that, suppose if there are any issues, you can also reset the data on the government portal. And if you want to start fresh, in some cases, if you want to use the government portal to upload the return, then you can also generate the JSON file. You can print the overview and you can also export this data to an Excel format. So everything that is going to be reported in GSTR1, that will be exported in Excel file that you can keep for your future reference, that this is the data that you reported in GSTR1, right? So that was a quick overview of GSTR1 filing. If at the time of upload you can get any error, then the same can be seen. Okta will generate friendly error reports, so you can make the correction in your data and push the data again. And even if you push it multiple times, this data will not be duplicate. Uh, for the same invoice, Okta will not upload the same data twice, and only the corrections will be uploaded, right? Uh, and as I explained, in IMS, when your suppliers are rejecting your credit note, so you can also pull the data of IMS using this pull IMS button, so that your outward related IMS data will be updated. So you know that which suppliers are rejecting your documents, right? And GSTR1A is also supported. If you want to make any correction after filing your GSTR1, so that your GSTR3B liability is correct, so you can also make use of GSTR1A module. Right. So we are running a little late. I will try to cover as much as I can. So let's move on to the purchase side of compliance. The same philosophy is seen in the purchase page also. So we have on the purchase page, we have the import facility using which we can import our purchase register. So now, why this is important? Because whenever you are working with IMS compliance or GSTR-2B or GSTR-3B compliance, it becomes very important to reconcile your purchase register with the data that is available on the government portal. So if you import it, Okta can reconcile and suggest you what should be done for various differences, right? For example, IMS is an important compliance. Right now, it is indicated as optional. But we all know that IMS is a useful facility using which we can accept, reject, or keep the invoices pending, and it helps the GSTR3B. It makes the GSTR3B compliance easier, because any invoice that we have not booked, we can keep it pending, right? So let's take a look at the IMS compliance first. So for IMS, we can go to IMS module and click on the pull button at any time, and Okta will pull the latest data that is available in IMS, right? So you can simply go to view option and you can see that which data is available in your IMS. And anytime you use pull IMS button, latest data will be imported here, right? So at any point of time, you can see when was the last time you imported your IMS data. You can view and export this IMS, but the more useful thing is to uh, take action on the IMS invoice, right? Which is done in the Rico IMS module here. Right. So we imported all those invoices, and as you might know that in IMS, uh, even those invoices are populated for which the supplier has not filed the return, right? So, but taking action on those invoices is not useful, because those invoices might change in future, and in any case, unfiled invoices will not move to the GSTR-2B. So for that, we have given a filter called filed invoice only, so that you can filter out all the unfiled invoice, and you only have to deal with the file data which is going to affect your GSTR-2B and GSTR-3B ITC, right? So you can apply this filter, and then there are two methods of taking action in Okta, depending on your preference. First is that you can click on export button. So when you click on export, uh, an Excel file will be generated. Let me open this Excel file for you. Right. So here in the Excel file, you can see in the sheet, the full data is exported. What is the company GST and tax period, type of document, supplier name, everything is exported, and in the end there is an option for the user. So wherever it is highlighted in yellow, so here you can take this action, that whether you want to accept that invoice or keep it pending or reject it, right? And you can also add your remarks here, right? So you can take all these actions here, and once you have taken these actions, you can import this Excel file again. For example, I let's call it accept. I will save it, and I will import the same file again, right? So I will import the actions, right? So here you can see one record is updated, and now you can see that one record, the action is now pending for push. And here in the B2B credit note, you see there is one credit note which is accepted. So that way, if you prefer, you can simply export IMS data, specify the actions that you want to take, import it in back into Octa, and then click on the push action button. So irrespective of the number of records in your IMS, whether it is 500, 1000, 5000, 1 lakh, everything will be exported in just one click. And uh, this is the first method. Now suppose you want Okta to recommend you that which action should you take, right? So for that we have this reconciliation based IMS action. So for that we have to import our purchase register first, because only with the reconciliation Okta can suggest you which data you should uh, accept and which you should keep pending, right? So I'm importing my purchase register, and now let me reconcile. So as soon as I do the reconciliation, let me go to the reconciliation and see all documents. So Okta will show you all the documents, and also the uh, reconciliation status. So let me, I think I imported a wrong file here. Hmm. Just bear with me. Yeah, so this is the file that I should have imported. So I have now imported that purchase register, and let me now reconcile. So as soon as we do the reconciliation, Okta will show you which invoices are matching with your purchase register and where there are differences. Now the recommended action here is that any invoices which is matching, right? So match and almost match. So almost match is something where you can define a tolerance, that you can say that any difference less than 5 rupees, just consider that as a match. So that is classified. So we will apply this filter, and here we can select all the invoices and click on accept button, right? Because this is the recommended action, that if the data is in your books and IMS is matching and IMS invoice is filed, then we can simply accept it. So we click on accept button, and this action is marked on all these invoices, right? So it can be hundreds of invoices. In just one click you can take bulk action. Now the next part is missing in purchase, right? So those invoices which is appearing in IMS, but it is not available in your books. So this means that you might not have booked those invoices yet. So the recommended action for those invoices is to keep them pending, right? Because unless you book it, there is no point accepting and moving it to GSTR-2B, because if you move to GSTR-2B, you anyway have to reverse that ITC, which makes GSTR-3B calculations complex, right? So we will just keep it pending, and when you are keeping it pending, then you can also give a remark, right? So we can say not booked yet, and the invoice will be marked as pending, right? And lastly, we have a mismatch category. So here you can see if the invoice is there in both books and IMS, but the data is not matching, right? So in this case, you can double click and exactly see that which attribute is not matching. So here you can see that in IMS, IGST amount is 270, but in purchase it's 240. So it is also highlighted that which data is different. So in this case, as a taxpayer, you can either accept or reject this invoice. It's your judgment. If you accept, it will be move to GSTR-2B, and if you reject, then you can notify to your supplier that this invoice has incorrect data. So the supplier needs to make amendment to such invoice. Right. So in this particular case, I will just select reject. So wrong data report. Right. So this is marked as rejected. So if we come back to the dashboard, then here you see this message. There are 9 actions that you have taken in Octa GST that needs to be pushed to the government portal. Right. So if you just click on this push button, all these 9 actions will be pushed to the government portal and everything will be saved. Unless you click this push button, everything is saved in Octa only. Right. So these actions will be pushed to the government portal only once you click on this push action button. And you can also for your record, you can also generate a reconciliation report and keep it for your reference, that based on these reconciliation you have taken these actions on IMS. Right. So this was an overview of IMS. You can pull the latest data anytime. You can export and take action in Excel, push those action in bulk to the government portal, and you can also reconcile, in which case Okta will guide you that which invoices should be accepted, which should be kept pending, and which can be rejected. Right. So all it helps you take actions in bulk in IMS. Now, once we have gone through the IMS reconciliation, then after that, if we go to GSTR-2B and click on pull button, then Okta will get the latest data based on your IMS actions. So your GSTR-2B will be populated here. So here you can see Okta is now pulling the data of various returns here, and it is showing that this data is now available. So and if even after generating GSTR-2B, suppose you want to make any changes to the IMS action, you can still do it. Before filing 3B, you can alter those actions. So you can take different action. You can again go to IMS module, take different action, push it, and if you come back to GSTR-2B, click on pull button. So new data will be imported here. Once we have GSTR-2B data, we can do the further reconciliation with our purchase register. So in this case, this was more useful when IMS was not available. But even in this particular uh, case, there are certain cases when, for example, RCM invoices, which are still not part of IMS. So in this case, you can do the GSTR-2B reconciliation. But in order to avoid the duplicate work, what Okta does is that any reconciliation that you do in IMS, that is automatically applied to GSTR-2B also, so that you don't have to do that reconciliation again in 2B. Right. So in practical, what it means is that only those small percentage of invoice which is not reconciled in IMS, only that has to be done in 2B reconciliation. So the duplicate work is avoided. Now let me select a particular period here. So 23, and let's reconcile. So as soon as we do the reconciliation, Okta will show you that how many invoices are matching, how many mismatches or missing invoices are there. And for import of goods also, the reconciliation is available. And when we want to see the details, so in reconciliation, Okta shows you different levels of dashboard. So first one is the top level dashboard. The second is at the supplier level dashboard. So let me zoom in slightly. So here you can see that for each supplier, Okta will show you how many invoices are there, how many mismatches are there, what is the amount of difference at the supplier level in tax. Right. So at the supplier level, you can see the difference. And at this stage, if you double click on any supplier, then Okta shows you the third dashboard, which is at the invoice level. So for each invoice, whether the data is matching in Okta, and whatever data is reported by supplier, all the statuses are displayed here. And here you can see these little icons. They show you visually whether the data is matching or not. And if there are small differences, then that is highlighted as an almost match category. Uh, the purchase data, in practically we have seen that purchase data might not be perfect. so that the invoice number might be entered incorrectly, some prefix suffixes are not entered, right? So for those cases also, Okta uses a smart matching algorithm. So even if the invoice number is not exactly matching, Okta will use the similarity of the data and suggest you that these are the invoices which are matching, right? So in this particular case, you can see that in GSTR-2B, there is some prefix and then there is an invoice number, but in purchase register, somebody entered only 010, right? So, but Okta has still figured out that these two invoices seems like they are the same invoice, and that is why it has linked them together, and it is showing that these invoices are matching. So that helps greatly, because in many cases the data is not perfect, and Okta can suggest you that these invoices are the matching and the that can be linked, right? So this reconciliation facility is available. You can also generate a reconciliation report. uh, uh, Suppose you only want the data of the mismatches, so you can apply these filters, and you can generate the reconciliation report. Let me quickly show you how that report looks like. uh, so in the reconciliation report also, everything is visually highlighted. So if you see on the invoice summary, you can see here that for each record whether the invoice is matching or not, and if there are any differences in for example invoice number or the value of the invoice, then everything is highlighted in the Excel also. So for example, so this is the taxable value in purchase register, this is the taxable value in GSTR-2B, and it is highlighted here because the value is not matching, right? So even in Excel you can quickly find out those differences. You can apply various filters. The report is designed in such a manner that you can effectively apply all these filters, for example, based on the colors and everything, and you can use this reconciliation report for further analysis if you want, right? The next one is the GSTR-3B preparation. So once you have done the reconciliation, then based on that reconciliation, Okta can suggest you that which invoices you should claim the ITC on. And Okta will also remember that these are the invoices in which you have claimed this ITC in which period, right? So at the invoice level, Okta will keep track of. So for example, let's select all these invoices and click on auto claim. So auto claim is the facility in which Okta suggests you that these are the invoices on which you should claim the ITC, and it will mark that ITC at the invoice level so that you remember that these are the invoices for which I claimed the ITC in this particular GSTR-3B period. So let's click on auto claim, and now you can see only those invoices where there is any difference, these are pending, and all the invoices on which I have already claimed the ITC, they are now moved to the claim page, right? So this also works like as a repository, that these are the invoices on which you have already claimed the ITC, right? So suppose if I open this invoice, you can see here that Okta has also recorded this claim period, that we have claimed the ITC in July 23 period, and what is the amount of ITC that we have claimed. So even after 6 months, if somebody asks that how did you calculate the ITC in your GSTR-3B, we can use this report, and we can exactly calculate that in this particular month of GSTR-3B, I claimed the ITC on these invoices, right? So it keeps the compliance simpler, and it records everything, including the claim period and how much ITC we claimed. Then we go to GSTR-3B, and if we simply click on the calculate button here, then Okta will calculate liability from the sales register and the ITC, whatever ITC that we have claimed, and all the full GSTR-3B tables is auto-populated. And here, if we click on the pull button for the system calculated data, then Okta will also pull the GST and auto calculated data by the GST portal, and it will highlight the differences. If suppose the calculated value is different from the value that is calculated by the government portal, that will be highlighted here, so that even before filing, you can quickly see that why this value is different. Once you are satisfied, you can simply click on push button to push this data to the government portal, and the filing can be done on the government portal, right? Let me just quickly cover one last section here, which is the report section. And these are the analytical reports which help you identify the differences or the anomalies in your returns, right? So here again, you can generate the report at the pan level, or you can specify that these are the GST and I want to generate this report for. And you can generate the reports like 3B summary, 1 summary. So these are the financial year level reports. And the idea here is that to give you one single Excel file which gives an overview of all the returns of that GSTN and their respective comparison also. For example, the liability, if in GSTR 3B and 1, if it is different for any month, then you want to know here, right? So we can generate these reports. And in the report, let me quickly show you. In the annual report, we have GSTR 3B summary. So we have these columns for individual months, right? So for each month, what is the value in GSTR 3B? In GSTR 1, for each type of transaction, like B2B invoice, what is the taxable value in each of the month? So one single sheet is generated for each returns, which gives you an overview of the whole year. And you might know that it is also useful to have, because in some cases the invoices are reported in the next financial year, which belongs to previous financial year. So here the report also covers the full 20 or 18 months period. So even the next some periods of the next financial year are also exported, so you can quickly find out and that these are the invoices which is reported in next financial year, but they belong to the previous financial year. And you also have this comparison sheet. So for each month you can see that this is the data in GSTR 1, this is the data in GSTR 3B, and this is the difference. So ideally the difference should be zero for each different type of section. So if there are any difference, you can find out that why this difference is coming, so that there are no issues later on that why the data in the returns are different, right? uh, so that was a quick overview. So let's quickly take the a few questions here. Uh, so any questions that you might have so far, please write in the chat box. I will try to cover as much as I can. Right. So the first question is, what is code? So actually, sir, this depends on the uses. We have different types of plan depending on user requirement. So I will just request you, if you go to website octagst.com, and you have this contact sales button, simply leave your information here and our team will get back to you, understand your requirement and suggest you the best plan that is available. The next question is, how do we get detailed GSTR1 report? Right. So when we covered GSTR1 module here, then you might notice that in GSTR1 there is a filing history section, and in the history section, first you need to pull the data GSTR1. So pulling means we are getting the data from government portal to Okta, right? So first you pull the data, and then you can use this export button, right? So when you use this option, then the detailed transaction level data is exported in the Excel report. And here, let me mention again that you can export the data in Excel file for multiple GSTNs in one go and multiple periods in one go, right? So you can generate one file for the whole company for the whole financial year. Second, next is, does it give invoice level 2B report? Absolutely, sir. If we go to GSTR 2B, the same principle applies. We go to GSTR 2B, click on pull button. So this will get the data from the government portal to Okta. Once the data is available, we can click on this export button. Let me select this one particular financial year and click continue. So, and there is this robot section in Okta, right? So because in GST there are many operations that might take time, and it's not right for the user to wait for those operations. So that is why these operations are done in the background, right? So here I have generated this GSTR 2B report. I can click on this download button, and this will download the report. GSTR-2B transaction level data. Let me show you quickly here. So in the Excel file generated, we have company GSTN, the tax period, then the type of documents, right? So the transaction level data is exported in GSTR1 and GSTR2B. The next question is amendment process. Okay, so amendment, I believe it is the question is regarding the amendment in the GSTR1. So if you want to, when you are importing the data in the sales register, you have the option to specify the original invoice date and original invoice number. Right. So let me show you quickly. Uh, in the sales page, right? So there are some optional columns in the last, right? So original invoice number, original document number, or original date, and is amendment. So if you want to report this document as an amendment, then you just specify yes here in this amendment section, and then specify the original invoice number and date. So that will be considered as an amendment document. If you leave it empty, because in most cases it's the fresh data, then it is considered as the normal document. So you need to only fill it when it is an amendment, right? There are certain cases where there might be summary amendments also. For example, B2C summary. So for that also, in our sales summary sheet, we have original period column here. So if you are reporting the amendment of summary, then you just specify this original period. If you leave it blank, then that is considered that as a data of the current record, or if you fill it, then that is considered as an amendment record. Right. Next question is how we can transfer data from other software. So for that, we have different types of format. So one option is Octa format. If from that software you are able to extract the data in Octa format, then that we can do. In many cases, various software, they export the data in GSTR1 government format that can be directly imported. In our business plan, we can also make adapters or connectors for different formats. So if that is required for specific ERPs, then the fourth option will show up in those accounts, right? So that is also a possibility we can do. Apart from that, these are the three standard formats available in Okta. Next question is how do we TDS TCS deducted by client? I'm not sure I understand the question. If sir, can you please clarify? If it is about the GST TDS and the GSTR7, then definitely you can prepare it. Because when you open such company here, then the TDS return is shown here. So you can prepare GSTR7, and there has been recent changes in GSTR7 also. Uh, so that you can do here, right? Uh, how we can get data backup? Okay, so this so you don't need to worry about data backup. So this cloud platform is actually we host it in within the border of India, and we host it on a industry's leading cloud service provider, which is AWS, and we use different availability zones, right? So whenever you add any data, it is instantly replicated to different sites. So even if one site goes down, Okta will remain available and the data availability will be ensured. So this data backup is handled for you transparently by Okta. You don't have to take any manual action, and data is always backed up in the cloud. How do we connect with your team for any queries? Right. So suppose if you are already using Okta, then in Okta you would see there is this support button here in the top, within the application, right? So just click on this button, and it will open a ticket page. You just click on new ticket, describe the issue. It's a very simple window. You don't have to enter a lot of details. You just describe the title and the message, and our support team is a dedicated support team. They constantly monitor these tickets, and they will instantly contact you to resolve your queries. And so this is when you are already using Okta. If you haven't subscribed to Okta yet, then obviously you can go to octagst.com website and click on contact sales button. if you are not already a user. So you can enter your details here and we will get back to you. Next is this the same software used for TDS? Okay, so Octa, as I mentioned in the beginning, that Octa is dedicated for GST compliance, but in order to handle your TDS compliance, we have a second software, which is the Figment One Suite, which offers you Notice CPC, 26 AS reconciliation, and the Tax CPC product, which is the TDS compliance product. So if you want to handle your TDS compliance, we have a separate product for it and we can take care of that requirement also. Do you offer your software to a professional? Yes, sir, definitely. This is in our platform. We try to accommodate the full community because tax professionals are an integral part of this community. So we do offer these plans to the professionals. Obviously, based on the requirement of there are certain requirements that are specific to business users. For example, e-invoice generation, e-way bill generation. So we have different plans for different users, but certainly we can give you the professional plan if you are a qualified professional who is practicing in GST. Next is it's not GSTR 7 TDS deducted by e-commerce company. Okay, so I believe this question is with respect to GSTR 1 reporting, where we show the data for the e-commerce deductions, right? So the TCS that they collect. So for that, in the format, in the sales summary, if you see here, we have in the format you can specify. So let me show you quickly here. In the sales summary, we have e-commerce summary, right? So both section 95 and section 52 TCS, both the sections summary are available here, and you can specify the data and import it from an Excel file. Can I get recorded video of today's webinar? Sure, sir. So our all the webinars are recorded. This is also recorded, and I will just request you to send an email if you want the recording of this webinar. You can simply send an email to support@octagst.com, and we will share a link with you with the recording of this webinar. Uh, Not GSTR1. Right. So what I can do is, sir, I'm not able to understand the question. So what you can do is you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question so that I can understand it better. So you can unmute yourself and ask the question, sir. It's fine. Okay. So where to share the email? Right. So let me type in the chat box. So if you want a recording, then you can simply drop an email to support@octagst.com. So I have mentioned the email address in the chat box. You can send an email and we will get back to you with the link of the recording. Sorry, I have allowed the mic. If you can try now, then I think it will work. Earlier it was disallowed, disabled, but right now it is enabled. Right. So are you still not able to enable your mic, sir? Actually, I have allowed the mic for all the participants.
Oh, yes. Hello?
Hello. Yes,
Hello?
sir. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
now
hear
the
you.
voice is audible?
Yes, yes, I can
So,
hear you,
yeah,
sir. Yeah,
yeah. So my
please, if you can
question
clarify
is,
the question.
yeah,
Yeah.
so my question is, when the e-commerce company deduct our TDS, we need to claim that TDS, which goes to our cash ledger. So where do we get those information in your software? Like in ClearText, we used to get that under GSTR-2A report. So like how would we
Right,
get
right.
that report in your software?
Sure, sure, sir. Sure. Absolutely right. So the same way, if you go to GSTR-2A and click on view button here, you would see these buttons on the top. I hope you are able to see on my screen.
Yes,
So
yes.
the data is divided into
Perfect.
B2B, IST, TCS, TDS. So here, using these sections, you can find that information.
Perfect. Perfect.
Right. Right. So one question is that if you are migrating from ClearTax, then as a special offer, we are migrating all the existing ClearTax users for free. So you get 1 year of Octa GST for absolutely free. So you don't have to pay anything right now. But as a user, I fully understand that you would want this transparency that what you will need to pay next year, right? Because we also don't want to keep you in dark. So any pricing related information if you need, which is applicable next year, that also you can simply contact our sales team. We will share all the plans that is going to be applicable next year, right? So that you have the full visibility that this is the product. You have all the features we have showed you. You can use it for free for 1 year, and after 1 year, what you will need to pay, everything will be clarified. But nothing right now. Right now, you don't have to pay anything uh, for those users who are migrating from ClearTax. Right. So I believe we have covered all the questions. It was a fantastic session. And I hope it has been useful to you. If you have any feedback, if you want to get back to us, please leave a note on our website using this contact sale option. If you need any support from us, simply contact us and we will be happy to help you. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for spending your valuable time. Thanks.